Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing a Game Week 16 episode of Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid for the final game week before the big international break. So guys, if you're excited for the final game week before the big break, please do leave a like, please do subscribe if you're new around here, but let's just get on with it. So buys are players you probably don't have but should consider bringing in, sells are players you probably have but should consider removing, keeps are players you might be thinking about removing but I think you should keep them, and avoids are players that are pretty hyped up right now but I think they are potential traps that should be avoided. 2 in each category. Let's go through them. So our first buy today is going to be Darwin Nunez. So 1 game week left before the big break. Remember guys, we get unlimited transfers after game week 16 before the game week 17 deadline. So when we're picking our players, we only need to think about this 1 game week on its own, and that 1 game week for Darwin is Southampton at home, which is a really nice fixture against a managerless Southampton for the first time in a very long time. So hopefully there's going to be some real opportunities for some high returns from our Liverpool players. Now, we know Darwin has a lot of opportunities to score. He gets a lot of chances. You can see 17 shots, 12 in the box, 3 big chances in his last 4 games that he's played for Liverpool, one of which was a substitute appearance. We're pretty sure he's going to start this next game though, just because of the lack of other options at Liverpool in those forward positions. So using that kind of data that we got there, cross-reference it with the amount of minutes he's played, and you can see that actually he's getting some good amount of kind of chances per 90. So yeah, hopefully he's going to do pretty well in this game. I think he's a really good pickup if you can afford to get him at his 8.9 million price tag. A good forward to go for in general. Ivan Perisic is also a very good pick as well, I think. So Leeds at home is his game in game week 16. He's a 5.5 million defender, but what's really interesting is that last game week, he was actually playing as a striker against Liverpool. We know he's played as a striker before in previous years. He is classically a forward, although he's been playing as a defender in more recent seasons. They have actually started to experiment with Perisic up front, just because there's no Son at the club at the moment. There's no Richarlison at the club at the moment. These players are unavailable, so Perisic is being forced to play as a striker. So what we have here is a super out of position defender who is actually playing as a striker. So he gets the defender's clean sheet points, he gets the defender's extra points per goal. If he does get those goals, he hit the post, of course, against Liverpool. And also in that Liverpool game, which was really interesting, he was playing up front with Harry Kane, but Perisic was always the furthest man forward on that pitch. Add to that the fact that Perisic does indeed take corners when Heung-min Son is not playing. Basically means that this asset is just incredible for a 1-week punt. Really nice to go for. Whilst we know he's going to be playing as a striker, this is really your opportunity to go for him and collect all of the amazing rewards that will come with picking a player like this. It is so rare that we get a genuine defender playing in a genuine forwards role. It's so rare. So this could be a real opportunity for us. Mason Mount is a sell. I'd say probably every Chelsea player is a sell for this game week. If we're just looking for this 1 game week alone, Newcastle away is one of the hardest fixtures you can possibly have at the moment. Newcastle's defensive numbers are really good right now, and they're also scoring a hell of a lot of goals as well. So a really dangerous opponent, and I think Chelsea will be a little bit worried about this game in general. Now add to that the fact that Mason Mount's underlying stats are not incredible right now. I don't want to single him out too much, because what I really do mean is that all Chelsea players should probably be sold right now. But Mason Mount, since he is the most popular Chelsea player to own, we're going to talk about him a little bit, and his underlying stats are just not too great. 0.98 expected goals, 0.69 expected assists in 5 games. It's just not quite good enough for the value, the money you have to spend to get him in your team. So that, all in all, does indeed make him a sell. My next sell is Mitrovic, and I'm not fully convinced by this one, if I'm totally honest with you guys. I was really struggling to figure out a second player to put in the sell category. There are very few players that I'd actually be looking to sell this game week, but I guess Mitrovic could be considered as a sale just because he has got that minor injury at the moment, and I'm wondering if Fulham may indeed rest him once again, because that ankle injury is playing up, and he's going to want to be fully fit for the World Cup at Serbia. You know, playing for Serbia in the World Cup, that's a real honour for this guy, and I just feel like it's worrying a little bit. So Mitrovic, although his underlying stats are absolutely phenomenal, and if he was fully fit, I would back him against Manchester United. I just wonder if he is going to be at 100%, even if he does play. You know, is he going to be playing kind of in 4th gear maybe, just because he doesn't want to re-aggravate that injury that is kind of plaguing him at the moment. I just feel like he's not going to be at full throttle, and we're not going to get the best out of Mitrovic this game week. Maybe we've seen a little bit of that already. He's just not 100% right now, and I think he will be, his priority in his mind will be playing at the World Cup rather than this game against Manchester United for Fulham I don't know. It's just not going to be top on this priority list. Cancelo is a keep. Now, I thought I would use this video as an opportunity to explain why Cancelo is a keep and not suspended for game week 16, because a lot of people have already sold Cancelo. Hundreds of thousands of people, in fact, have already sold Cancelo because they think he's going to be suspended for the Brentford game. Now, when you get a red card, sometimes you can be banned for 3 games if it's a straight red card, if it's for violent conduct. Now, Cancelo's red card was not for violent conduct. It was for denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, which grants a 1-match ban for a player. So Cancelo is banned for 1 game. Now, fortunately for us FPL players, that 1 game, actually, it turns out that's going to be the League Cup game midweek. So Cancelo is suspended from the Cup game. All in all, really, it just means he's going to be well rested throughout the week, not going to be playing midweek like a lot of his teammates, and he is going to be fully available for game week 16. So, wanted to put this one out there. Cancelo is not suspended for the home game against Brentford. He is going to be a phenomenal option for that game. Clean sheets are definitely going to be on the cards, and attacking returns will be on the cards as well. So, yeah, because commiserations to anyone who did have Cancelo last game week, myself included. Even more commiserations to those of you guys who captained him. I imagine that was so painful in game week 15, but for game week 16, we're back in business with Cancelo. So for me, he is definitely a 100% a keep. Rashford is going to be another keep for us. I know a lot of people are selling him. They kind of may be losing a little bit of patience because he didn't score against Aston Villa, which was a bit of a disaster really for Manchester United. But this Fulham fixture really is so nice. Like, I spoke about this before, about how this Manchester City game versus Fulham, that could have been an absolute cricket score, because Fulham right now are right at the bottom of the table in terms of defenses. Their defensive numbers are just horrible. They are really conceding more chances than any other team in the Premier League, and they are the team to target. Now, in that Manchester City game, unfortunately, City did get a red card early in that game with Cancelo, who we've just spoken about, but that kind of meant that game they weren't able to fully get into it, but they still were able to score 2 goals in that game, including a goal that, no, excluding a goal, should I say, that was actually disallowed as well. So Man City with 10 men could have absolutely still managed to do some real damage to Fulham. So you can only imagine what a team of 11 players will be able to do to Fulham. They're just not looking good defensively at the moment. I just feel like Rashford, who is getting so many chances to score, is going to get some real good opportunities in this game. You can see from his underlying stats, 2.74 expected goals in the last 5 games and 0.1 expected assists. Fair enough, he hasn't quite performed on that one, but he did get his goal a couple of weeks ago in the Premier League, maybe giving him that confidence that he can score, he can be the main man once again. So yeah, really a good option for this game week. Seriously, one of the possibly like one of the highest predicted points players of the game week, excluding of course those really expensive players. Rashford is one of the probably the most ideal midfielder at that 6 to 7 million price bracket to go for this game week. He really is incredible. Him alongside Zaha, these are probably going to be the 2 really high ceiling players for this game week, who you know could really go nuclear, could really do some serious damage, because they've got these fixtures where, you know, they're playing against very weak defenses and a lot of goals have that potential to be scored. So if you're playing those high ceilings for players, Rashford is definitely someone you would want to keep and maybe even buy. I would genuinely even consider buying him right now as a 1-week punt if you don't have him already. Finally, some avoids. We'll start you off with James Maddison, who I know had a very good game week last game week, but I'm not sure if he's fully showing that form, because we know that Maddison, what we like about him is when he hits those streaks, he gets on those really nice runs of form where he just absolutely destroys it, does so well, and nobody can stop him. Not a single person can stop this guy, but I don't feel like he's on that kind of streak right now. You can see by his underlying stats that he is massively overperforming. He has done that in the past, to be fair, so I'm not saying that just because he's overperforming, it means he can't continue it. But, you know, it's difficult. He's creating a few chances for his teammates, but what other players at Leicester are really clinical at the moment? Not too many. We've seen Leicester have kind of struggled for goals a little bit this season, really, and they're playing away against West Ham, who are one of the strongest defences in the league. It really is difficult to score too many goals against West Ham, and it's difficult to say, you know, Maddison, 8.2 million, what is his ceiling like in this game? Is he got that high ceiling? Is this a game week? You know, we've got a 1 game week punt to bring in a player. Are you going to bring in a Maddison who's playing against a difficult defence, has kind of questionable underlying stats, is playing in a team that struggles to score goals? How many points are we realistically expecting from Maddison? Probably not too many, which I know is a little bit controversial, considering Maddison is one of the most popular players being brought in this week by a lot of people. But I just don't think, if you're going for a 1-week punt, and that's what we are doing, I just don't think this is the right place to look. And our final avoid and the final player in this video is going to be Toney, who plays against Manchester City away. And that's pretty much all the reason you need, isn't it? If a player is about to play the hardest team in the league away from home, it's just doesn't really make much sense to bring them in. And again, we go back to this whole thing about 1 week punts. We've got 1 game week left until you can make unlimited transfers. Do you really need Toney for this away game against Man City? Is there any other players you can potentially look at instead who have more of an opportunity to score a lot of points? Because the best case scenario for Toney in this game is he scores a penalty and maybe gets, you know, a 9-pointer. That would be if he got all the bonus points, but that's not going to happen because we know Man City are going to score goals. 6 points is probably the ceiling for Toney. That's the best possible outcome for this game week for Toney. So it's not great. That, you know, it's more likely that he's going to get a 1 or a 2-pointer. I know a lot of people had to transfer him out due to his suspension last game week, and maybe are a little bit excited to get him back in, but just remember, it's for 1 game week. If you want to get Toney back in, maybe wait till game week 17. Maybe that's the time to get him back in. Right now, it's just not the moment for him. Man City away, as a rule of thumb, you never bring in a player in FPL when they're about to play against that fixture. You just wait 1 more week before making that move. So in conclusion, guys, basically just think of the player who you think is going to score the most amount of points this game week, who you don't have in your team currently. And that's pretty much the player you want to transfer in. Whether it's Darwin Nunez, who you think is going to have a really good game at home against Southampton, whether that's like Perisic or someone like that, who you think is going to be playing out of position and has that opportunity to, you know, if Perisic scores a couple of goals, he's suddenly looking at a 20-pointer because he's a defender, and defenders get so many points for scoring goals. So these are kind of the opportunities we want to look for 1 game week only. Take that risk, go for that super explosive player who could go nuclear, and maybe try and avoid some of those players who have the more difficult fixtures, you know, like the likes of, you know, Leicester players, Brentford players, you know, even Chelsea and Newcastle players. They're playing each other, so how many goals are you expecting in that game? Maybe you want to avoid Arsenal players potentially if you don't think they're going to get too many goals against Wolves. There's all kinds of different ways you can look at it, but the basic, I think the biggest piece of advice this game week is just to sell players with low ceilings and buy players with high ceilings. Let's go for broke. Let's get that big haul before the break. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. It really does help out the channel so much. And a massive shout out to all of you guys who are continuing to like the video. If we can get this video to 1,500 likes, I'll be super happy with that. So yeah, please. We will do the 100 experts video tomorrow, so look forward to that. I'm going to try and upload some World Cup content as well, maybe slightly closer to the World Cup. Maybe we'll wait until, you know, the weekend before doing too much World Cup stuff, but we will be doing that as well. And yeah, of course, we'll have second content channel over the next couple of weeks as well. So that's it from me today. Thank you once again for watching so much, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.